If you had to describe the guest of today with one word, which word would be?
Curry. But actually, I want to say Curry Smuggler.
Okay.
But I'm not allowed to say 2 words. I have to elaborate, but listeners should just listen to this episode and they will understand why I say Curry Smuggler.
Got it.
And you?
I think I would say market builder, because this guy is an entrepreneur and he's unique because he's building practically the markets where he's selling. And he did one time with such a big market as the alcohol-free industry, being one of the pioneers of craft alcohol-free beer in the UK. And when the market was too crowded for him, he said, well, I'm going to build another thing.
Well, that is a way how you can be an entrepreneur switching from roles. And he's quite on age, right?
Yes. He's
he's not a young entrepreneur anymore. He has a lot of experience as well. So I'm very curious.
It's a great conversation. And that is why, dear listeners, we leave you with the talk with Steve de Sailopal, founder of Curry Smugglers. Welcome, Steve, to Tomorrow's Bites. We are very happy that you accepted the invitation to come to the podcast. Was when I was doing some research on what things that could be a little bit different that we could bring, and I came across with Curry Smugglers, and I thought that it was very interesting. Also, I thought you have a very interesting story when it comes to the modern side of the food and beverage industry. So I was really happy that you were up to coming here and have this conversation. So for the people who might not know you, Steve, how would you describe yourself, but without mentioning what you actually do? Just like,
well, firstly, thanks very much for having me. I really appreciate it. We're a very small business, and really means a lot. And to explain, I'm a curry smuggler. That's what it's all about. And it all started way back when you look at the name Curry Smugglers. People say, "Oh, is there some ulterior motive here?" But it all started like every time we go to India, we always bring back pickles and bags of freshly ground spices. And the customs officer said to us one time, "What's this? You smuggling curry?" and he was funny. He was having a laugh. And we just thought. And then me and my wife, we said, you know what? We remembered that day, and when we were looking to launch this product, we thought, you know what? That's a great story. And it's so important when you got a brand. You got to have that whole story behind it, and this really fitted in with what we want to do. So yeah, we're the Curry Smugglers with good motives.
That is actually really it's a funny story, and I think it's great indeed when you have like a good reason, a good something supporting your background, like your backstory.
Oh, it's just one of those things, and the most important thing for us is that we can try to create something different within this sector of the industry. Asian snacks, as you have probably seen also, is that it is just sold in the supermarket in boring, plain plastic bags. And, I'm a first-generation British Asian, and my mother used to make these snacks for us on a rainy day or on festivals, And now the second generation, my children, they're saying, "Mom, Dad, when we go to the supermarket, we see these lovely Korean snacks or Middle Eastern snacks or European food, nice decoration, but our Asian snacks are just boring bags. What's going on?" So we took it on ourselves. We took the project on, and the rest is history,
Okay, one moment. We want to take not even 30 seconds of your time. First of all, we hope that you are enjoying this episode, and we are so thankful that you are listening. But we have a little request to make.
Yes, and that little request is to leave us a review on the platform that you are listening to right now. because via that we can reach a broader audience with these great stories. Thanks a lot, and now back to the episode.
When you were, I was just thinking, I was trying to, just so we can understand a little bit where it's all come from. No, you said you are first generation British Asian. So
Yeah.
I am wondering, when you were younger, did you already have an interest in doing something related to food and beverage, or is that something that came later?
No, totally wasn't on my vision at all. So my father came to the UK in 1957. He was a tailor by trade. So he managed to get the pass from the British, and they needed people like him with certain skills. So that's when he came to the UK, and over the 60s and 70s, he kept within the clothing and fashion area. And I joined him until he sadly passed away in the early 2000s. Um, I was never ever in this sector of the industry, but for some reason I ended up in the beer scene. So when my father sadly passed away, um, we, as brothers, we all went and done different projects. And a friend of mine, who I used to buy lace from in Lille, because Lille was very well known for manufacturing lace for the fashion industry. He said to me, "Go, Steve. There's a brewery in Belgium who needs some help with marketing and branding." And I said, "Well, look, I love beer. I'd love to get involved with that." So I got involved with the beer side of things. So over the years, that then ended up in 2016 when I started working and developed the first alcohol-free beer in the UK. Um, and then, and now what I'm noticing is that that alcohol-free beer scene has just got, there's too many brands now popping up for the sector of the space that it is. So me and my wife were saying about a year ago that, we need to do something else. And then it just happened when my daughter said we need to do something with these snack branding. We said, look, let's put them in a beer can. It's like, why didn't we think of that before? So yeah, this is what's happening, man. So the evolution from fashion to beer, and to still stay in the industry, because I got a lot of friends in the beer industry, and we can grow from here.
Yeah, and that evolution from fashion to beer to where you're now, like what key lessons did you took with you that you're still using today? I mean, standing out in a crowded market with your packaging is definitely maybe something you learned
Yeah,
how it had
exactly.
been done before.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head there, because I think the most important thing is you have to create a brand that stands out from the crowd. Otherwise, look how many craft breweries there are now, and pretty much all the cans look the same. So you just got to be different. And we thought that this is an area of the industry that needs changing, needs some radical movement. And we thought, okay, let's do it. And I followed that up from when I was doing fashion. So even in the fashion industry, you know, you just got to be, on the move. You got to act with the times. Fast fashion, especially in the 80s and 90s when we were doing it. Obviously, we hate fast fashion now because, we want to recycle things. But back in that day, it was just moving fast, being different. And we at Curry Smugglers, we're still using those same sort of principles of, you know, trying to make as much noise with minimal impact. And hence the can, which is 100% recyclable. You can smelt down this can and make another can, whereas plastic bags will end up in landfill somewhere,
Yeah, I like
sadly,
that. Yeah.
which is so important for us these days.
And in fashion then, like, is it the only thing as a brand, what you can do to stand out in the crowded market is to come up with a completely, let's say, it's not actually a new concept, because you take a concept that has been established in one certain sector, you take it to another, like,
Yep.
beer cans or beer cans. I think
Yeah.
they were never used as snack cans, let's say it like that, in Europe, your way, right? So is that what you saw in fashion as well? Or were there other, like ways that brands try to differentiate themselves?
Well, I think what happened, especially back in the 80s and the 90s, it was just new products coming out every week. It was just the demand for, to bringing out new styles constantly, having something that you can run to the buyer of the department store, say, hey, I got a new product. Just trying to keep ahead of your competitors, you know. But what we're now realizing, that fast fashion has had so much of an impact on environmental issues, and we learn from our mistakes. Some of us do, some don't. And that fast fashion has affected, we see what's going on in the world, environmental, and it does make a lot of difference. And this is why when we started Curry Smugglers, we wanted to take something from previous work businesses that we have been involved with, but the good things. And with Curry Smugglers, we wanted to create a brand that's environmentally friendly, and at the same time, it's not just for one ethnic minority. We wanted to create a brand that's recognized and enjoyed by everyone, no matter what color, creed, where you're from, and this is what we're achieving here, and really making us really, proud of what we're doing.
It's beautiful. Yeah, that is. I really love that concept of trying not to just target to a minority, which could be like the obvious thing that
Well,
you're
this
trying
is
to do.
there. Especially with Asian snacks, people think, oh, they're just made it for Asian people. But my friends in the beer industry, they're saying, oh, Steve, Bombay Mix is one of the best pub snacks. What? Why wouldn't you want to have some Bombay Mix with a pint of lager? It's just one of those things, and it's recognized, and that's great because you know England, we're quite now. I This is what I see, and my friends around me see, is much more of a multicultural society here. And that is so important, for everyone to have been able to integrate, share everybody's culture. There was a time, when I was growing up, or probably when I was 10, 12 years old, and my neighbors used to knock on the door to my mother, your food is smelling. This is like early 1980s. But now look how many Indian restaurants we have, it's just sign of the times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is true. And actually, the best thing you can do when you go to London or something like that is try to find a really nice, authentic Indian spot, because
yeah.
you get like really like a little piece of the land, I believe, when
Well, this is that.
when you go there. I wanted to go back to one thing you mentioned on your on your journey. You said fashion, and a friend calls you. You're into beers. There is this
Yeah.
company that you can help with branding and the business development, and
Yeah.
then you decide to open the first alcohol-free brewery.
That's right.
In
Yeah.
how, where did decision come? It was. I mean,
Oh,
being the first is always very scary, right?
it was a huge challenge for me, which I took on. There were a few things going on back in 2014. I had lost a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, to alcohol. And also around those times, my mother also had passed away. And so I was in a sort of a headspace that, I needed to look at what was going on with myself as well. I took time out. I went to India. You start to seek a bit of spiritualism, and what bit of mindfulness, about what's going on around you. Um, and then I thought, you know what, let's do alcohol free, man, And everyone I spoke to, all my friends in the beer industry, they go, Steve, have you bumped your head or something? Why do you want to sell alcohol free beer for? It's this, there's no demand for it. Obviously there wasn't at that time, but I could see that if we created something that tastes like beer, why wouldn't people drink it? At that time in 2014, we had a few alcohol-free beers, brands such as Caliber. I don't know whether if it was
No, not known by me.
No,
yeah,
not either. I
yeah,
don't think in the in the Netherlands there is quite a craft beer industry,
yeah,
and now the non-alcoholic is also growing. But I think in
yeah,
that sense, it's not as strong as
yeah.
today.
Well, back at that time, there wasn't really, and if there was, they really didn't taste like beer. So, I started, we started this brand, and I helped, create the recipe. And, we created history at that time. We were the first. And it took a lot of science to create an alcohol free beer. And the main thing was for us to find a yeast that was not going to create alcohol. So we found a yeast at that time with the VLB in Berlin, which is the main beer. These are the geeks there, And we got this yeast called Brettanomyces ludwigi.
Hmm.
And that's a maltose negative yeast. Doesn't turn certain sugars into alcohol. So we used that at that time to create a 0.5% beer, which tasted great. But now since then, there's been so many more genetically modified yeasts that are so much better than the one that we were using at that time. It's just as the industry expands, people start to create different products which will help you, create the perfect product. But at that time, I had nothing except for this Ludwig, but we done it, and we had a lot of fun.
You were saying people was like, Steve, you bumped your head.
Oh man, they were like, "What the hell?"
There's no demand. Actually, I was recently uh, also for in a tasting of alcohol-free beers, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
some of the people that was already there, they were a little bit the position was against it. No, like what is the fun? What is the thing of an alcohol-free beer? So how did you do it then? In order to position, like, how did you find their people? Because apparently there was no people. How did you find your people?
No, well, what happened was a lot of people were saying to us, Steve, "Oh, why do you want to do alcohol free? Pubs will close. Our industry will be affected," and all this sort of thing. The negatives of it. Those same brewers who told me at that time, "Why are you doing?" They're all making alcohol free beer now. All of them, So, but what happened when we started? Obviously, we didn't have a lot of the liquid hop flavors and other products that we can enhance the beer with. So we just literally made our beer with a low grain recipe. So there's less fermentables. So it's a low grain recipe. We boiled at a higher temperature, so certain enzymes were not created. We had that yeast from the VLB in Berlin, which is like, thank you. And yeah, man, we created it. The initial brews were not to that structure or body feel of a beer. They were slightly thinner because of the low grain recipes. But as we started to brew, we then started to add other ingredients such as oats. We added oats, certain different malts we started to learn helped with the body of the beer, and then other products like maltodextrin. So if you add maltodextrin to any product, it gives you a little bit more body, a little bit more mouthfeel as well. So yeah, we learnt over the time with what we had available to us, And yeah, but now look, you can get all sorts of things, just pour it in and your product will change. That's cheating.
Yeah, now I heard way other methods as well for creating alcohol-free beer, right? It's not
Yeah. Well, you guys have got a great alcohol-free a BRLO.
BRLO.
In Amsterdam.
Low.
I don't know it, but
Yeah,
if you recommend it.
yeah, they've got a brilliant brewery. The brewery's made out of shipping containers.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
you
is
should
really
check
good. That fits with Amsterdam, I guess.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. It's really cool. You should check it out.
Yeah, I will check it out. I'm gonna check it out. And for you, Steve, so then you had this, alcohol-free beer. You launched this product. Um, then of course, I think the next challenge started to happen over time.
Yeah.
It was for you also a direct moment of like, the market might be here, not yet. I have to establish the bit. Well, for your case, Asian snacks were already there.
Yeah.
The only thing is, it was not branded in this way.
Yeah. Well, I think we took a little leaf out of what we did with the alcohol free. There was a market to create. There was a sector of the industry nobody was involved with. So sometimes if you're the first, or ahead of others, you can create your own little market here. So with the alcohol free, nobody was doing it. Bang, we were in, and it grew. This sector of the industry, again, we saw, myself and my wife, we were sitting and thinking, look, there's a lot of potential here. This sector of the industry has been totally ignored, and if there is products available, they are just products produced by some multinationals who have just plonked it on a shelf without caring about how its appearance is, because things have changed over the years. We've got the likes and benefits of Instagram, for instance. People want to enjoy a snack and share it with people, if not in face to face or online. So snacking is an experience. That's what we wanted to create. So we want people to pick up a can, and if they've been to Goa or if they've been to Delhi, can reminisce and think, oh yeah, I remember the hustle and bustle of the streets, the crazy noises, the cow walking in the middle of the road. Just bring back some memories. And fortunately, we are the world's first snack in a beer can. So we're probably going to see other brands popping up now.
Wow. I mean, if it happens, I'm going to be like, yeah, I met this guy. He is a genius.
Oh, God.
Like people in the snack industry are developing these, try to make more recyclable packagings. Like Lay's announced lately this thing, but they actually can just put it in a can. Like in the Netherlands, we have a whole recycle system for this, like there's nothing like, why should you develop multiple layer packaging?
Yeah, it's crazy. And to my benefit, I must admit, for us to get into a can was easy because I'm surrounded by empty beer cans, in the industry. So for us to get it packed, do it happened so quickly, Whereas if we had started from scratch, maybe, we would have been at a different stage right now.
Oh, but they can come to you to ask how they have to do it, right, Steve? You can be a consultant for them.
I have had a couple of emails already.
Actually, no, I've heard a lot of people that is within entrepreneurship and everything talking about your unfair advantages, no? Like, what are the things that because of your situation, because of your connections, you are in front of others, no? So try to identify those and see how you can leverage that. I think this is a great example, no? Like you have an unfair advantage over others into making some packaging into beer cans and being so substantial in your branding.
Yeah.
I am really wondering, like for the Curry Smugglers, I like to how is the your napkin moment. No, so like the napkin is the typical story of every entrepreneur. Like goes into a bar and starts like drafting all, and like they just had this idea and start like putting it in a napkin so they don't forget. I'm wondering what was the moment that you said, yeah, I think this could be a business idea, and you started like elaborating in your head like how it
Well,
could look like and everything.
Well, Andrea, I'm like 2 years ago, I was like totally in brewing,
Yeah.
24/7. Excuse me. And it's my daughter and my wife, who were literally, my daughter's very creative, and she was saying that, oh, why are these snacks, so Asian snacks so boring? And my son as well. And then my wife, literally, we had that light bulb moment. She goes, Steve, you're surrounded by cans. Why don't you put the snacks in the beer can? Um, and because, like what we said earlier on, the cans were available, we acted on it so quickly, and I was able to do it. And now, for the last 18 months, I've hardly spent time brewing. I've been more doing curry smuggling. It's
but then it was it that they said, oh, there is need of better in snacks, and you immediately said, yeah, let's go do that.
oh,
it was like that immediately for you, that clear.
Immediately. It's just one of those things. You know what? I looked, my kids, we were, oh my God, this has to be done. Um, it was literally like that, and then we put our foot on the gas, and touch wood, we haven't stopped since.
Then Steve, what was the next step that you took? Like when that light bulb moment came, you actually didn't hesitate to step into.
Yeah.
What was then the next step?
The next step was to create the brand. So that was one of the most important things. There's the old saying, never judge a book by its cover, but you always go to the best looking book sometimes on the shelf, So we needed to make our brand as colorful and exciting as what we look and realize what Indian culture is about. So the name, the story, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, we thought, you know what, we've got to use that. And then we needed somebody to create the logo for us. And this is a very sad story. A dear friend of mine, a young lady called Lauren Archer, she created our Curry Smugglers logo, the black and white one at the front here. She was into Goa, traveling throughout India, so she knew the culture, she knew how to create the branding, and she created this for us, which we loved. But sadly, 2021, she passed away. Sadly, we found out afterwards, obviously, mental health issues, and we were just so taken aback by that she was always happy and bubbly in front of us, and had we had known, we could talk to her about what was troubling her. And until today, it really affects how we run our business. We don't want to overwork ourselves. We make sure, we're doing certain things, certain times. If not, then let's not stress ourselves out. Mental health issues are very important. And, we were going to put the project on hold after what happened with Lauren. But then we spoke with friends, and they saying, look, she would love us to bring this to the forefront, her hard work as well, So, all credit to Madam, we miss her dearly. And, Curry Smugglers is a part of her. Her branding, her logo, we haven't changed at all. We did find another young man here in the UK to help us with the other graphics that are involved with it. And we work with a few other designers as well now. And, it's so important to find the right people who not understands just what you want to create, but also what's in your mind. And mindfulness, no matter, people say mindfulness is mainly about not drinking alcohol. I think mindfulness is about every single thing we do in our life. We have to be mindful.
I think, thanks for sharing, Steve. It's really important to spot the light in such a things,
Yeah.
and I encourage all I support all that you what you express overall in a world that in some ways seems to that we are every time more squeezed and squeezed to just
This is that.
give the most of us. It's good that there's moments for mindfulness, no? For
Yeah, we have to. I think we have to. It's so important. That shit we had with COVID, it made us think that, about ourselves a lot more. We took that time out when we were in lockdown to look into ourselves as well. We're now obviously very cautious about what we eat, where our food comes from. We double look at things these days, but mental health is a very, very important part, I think, of our lives. And if we get a chance, we should take out time and call a friend from time to time. Hey, how you doing? Not spoken to you a long time. We don't know what people are going through.
You're right. Wanted to ask, like, you have the packaging, you have like this beautiful branding with also a really nice story behind. But what about the snacks? How do you start? Like, is it something just in your kitchen? You start putting some
Oh
snacks
man.
in the can, or what? How do you work
Oh,
that?
oh man. You know what? That was a challenge because we're not cooks, we're not chefs. My dear wife, she obviously she's a brilliant cook. She makes some great food. Her mother and my mother both, you know, used to feed families of 20 people, all the time. So they always used to make these snacks. So one of the snacks, which is the chakli, is my wife's mum's recipe, who just recently sadly passed away, and she helped us with the conception and of the flavors and creating the product. And the other, the pakora, my dear mum used to make, and we used to enjoy watching her make it with her. She used to have this brass tool, which you fill. It's about the same size as this. You fill it up with the dough, and it's got a handle at the top, and you wind it, and the product used to come out of the bottom. I should have brought it here for us to show you guys, but I'll send you a picture later.
Yeah.
It's a lovely product. It's a heavy brass object, but it used to do the job, and you can get different shapes at the bottom, so the spirals can come out whatever shape you want to. And we used that, and we managed to find some more. So we've been making them with that initially, but it's a challenge to do everything, and I'm that sort of person who's a bit skeptical of giving my idea to other people when it's an infancy stage. So I took the risk and trusted somebody based up in Newcastle to help us create the snacks. So myself and my wife, we visited, sat down, worked on our recipes. They then made it, came back. They tasted brilliant. These guys have got all the health and safety certifications that are required for manufacturing food at a larger scale. So, we jumped into bed with these guys, and, that's really sorted. So now what's happening is the product they are manufacturing, but what we are doing, we are still maintaining the canning side of the business. So we have a canning line, which we fill the product that comes from the manufacturer. So we still handle that type of it. The surprising thing is, if in the whole of the UK, there is no contract packing company that can fill dry goods into beer cans.
I was just wondering.
Everybody does liquid into beer cans, but nobody was doing dry goods.
Yeah.
So
it's like I was already our production lines build up for this. But no.
So we had to do it ourselves. That was another challenge. But because I'm surrounded by brewers, and brewing equipment. I managed to get hold of a little canning line and this and that, joined it up, put it together, and man, we done it. We managed to get the product out. It's there were challenges, bro. Definitely challenges, but maybe somebody looking down on us. We managed to get these problems out of the way real quick, so which helped us get there. But in terms of the branding, we wanted to keep it colorful. We wanted people to pick up the can and say, "Yeah, this is cool." And touch wood, that's what people are saying.
Yeah. Well, if the branding works and people tell about the same thing that you would like to express, that is a successful branding, I would say.
Yeah.
So, but Steve, the moment that you went then with your recipe to the production facility, like it sounds like a match made in heaven. Was this the first
Oh,
one and directly a hit? So then I'm wondering if it was like this. We have been talking with different entrepreneurs, and the recipes had to pivot, it changed. It's not like the first time is actually the end product that they
yeah,
can order a
yeah,
bunch of and put it
yeah,
in cans in your
yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
Was it for you this, or were there in the meantime? Well, okay, no,
No,
we had
it's
to.
totally, totally. So eh, let me go back to the brewing side of things. So now when I done my first alcohol-free beer, my prototypes I was brewing on a homebrew equipment, which is a 25 liter. The homebrew kits.
Yeah.
So when I wanted to brew the alcohol-free beer on the larger scale, 1,000 liter, the science was all over the place. So I didn't realize at that time when I thought, okay, we'll just but the science. So now when we were doing the snacks, we tried to work it in a way where we used minimum ingredients, but still to create certain power um, uh, temptations on your on your palate. So, for instance, the pakora, we've put fennel forward on it. So fennel's a strong ingredient, a strong spice, herb, and that's really come through. But as I said, I'm quite skeptical on who I work with. So we only went to one company, and we had to make it work with that one company. And today we're with them. More companies I would have gone to and knocked on the doors, they would have asked, "Oh, why do you want it for?" "Oh, I'm launching a snack can." Oh, that's a good idea. So I really didn't want to speak to too many people about it.
Yeah. Okay. And Steve, then, what was for you the biggest difference between the beverage and now the snacking industry? What was the most surprising? You were like, "Oh my god, I cannot copy the same type of things that I have been doing in the alcohol industry and this snacking industry."
Oh God, one of the challenges in the beer industry that we're finding now, that, say, for instance, in London we have about 160 breweries, microbreweries, and everybody is fighting for the same bar tap space, the pump space, and it's a very competitive market. Um, Canning beer, you have many problems. For instance, if you overcarbonate a can, the can can explode, and crack the can open, it's over fobbing, and so many things. I don't have to worry about my can fobbing when I
No,
open it.
I hope not.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing that when you open it, you get the smell of spice, not
Yeah, so
any beer bursting in your face. So, that's a few advantages there. But um, so far, we haven't really. We're playing very, very safe with a lot of safe ingredients. Um, we don't want to do products that are not very familiar with people as well. So ideally, the snacks we are launching are the iconic snacks, the ones that everybody knows. And that, so when we launched, we didn't write snack on the front of the can. It doesn't say at all. So it's like everybody's like, the hell? And then when they pick it up, it's a very light beer, and so when we launched Curry Smugglers, the first event that the cans was available was the UK Brewers event in the UK, and the beer cans. I keep saying beer cans as well. So the cans were sitting on the shelf, and everybody thought, "Oh, this is a new brewery, maybe." Until they picked the can up, and it was making noise. That was really funny.
I wanted to know, like, how was the testing of the idea? No, because within your house, a snack
Oh
can
God,
looked great,
God.
but then when you, I want to know how did you do that moment of giving others the product and trying it, and what was
Oh,
the first feedback?
dude, focus groups. That's what we had to do. So, for instance, the Bombay mix, when we first made it, we had green peas inside of the Bombay mix. So we done focus group in our local here in Margate, and people were tasting it. Oh, and so many people said they don't like green peas. Our Bombay mix doesn't have green peas. Sacrilege.
Easy, no? It's a fix.
I know. My mother would go crazy. There's no green peas, but we didn't put because we listened to what other people say. But now we're going to the buyers, and the buyers are saying, "Man, we need green peas." I said, How many people can you satisfy here?
Yeah.
It's just crazy. I said, "Look, the consumers. This is what the consumers have said. They don't want green peas." So, but maybe we'll do another version with green peas as well. But yeah, the tasting, brother, it was literally doing focus groups, getting out there, walking, going to people's places, getting people to try it. Friends and family were very helpful, which was, really encouraging. And then obviously, my wife, she's a good cook, so all credit, all credit to her.
This, yeah, I mean, the importance of focus groups is, and especially in food, B2C, is very important on that early phase. I'm
Yeah.
wondering, Steve, who is then your target group at this moment? I can imagine these are beer drinkers looking for a snack next to compare their beers, or am I actually totally wrong? And it's your children, like the younger age, that is looking for, like colorful snacking brands.
Yeah. I think Curry Smugglers is focused on a few different markets. Yes, we would love being a beer can. We'd love our association with the brewing industry, and we find our cans in a lot of the brewery tap rooms. They're stocking it. But what we want as a brand, and we want to see our cans in grocery shops, delicatessens, cafes, brasseries. We want to see our brand there because we don't want it just to be that it's an ethnic brand and it should just be sold in the supermarket. We want Curry Smugglers snacks, Bombay Mix to be a mainstream product enjoyed by everybody, and because everybody, the world's a small place, everybody travels, and this is a snacking experience for people to pick up a can, reminisce about their holiday, and say, yeah, I remember eating this on our holiday. We can enjoy it here now, and this packaging looks great too.
So then the question is actually, how are you gonna do that, Steve?
Oh, well, that's a little help with Instagram at the moment. That's been helping us get the word out. So social media is really important. Um, we are taking on some staff to hit the road for us. But the most important thing was finding a distribution partner who already has a comprehensive selection of retailers, so we don't have to go knocking on door to door to door. So we managed to find at an early stage a really good wholesaler distributor. They have probably 500-600 retailers on their books. And then, once we can grow our production, we can then take on other distributors in the UK and maybe overseas as well. We were very fortunate that at the early stage, we managed to get our product into Selfridges. Selfridges, as you know, is an iconic store, and it's a great shop window for our brand. Um, lot of lot of independent retailers also go into stores such as Selfridges to look at what products they're selling for them to then pick up the phone to and try and purchase those products as well. So that shop window at Selfridges at an early stage really helped us, and the buyers were just amazing, for them to take us on board. Few weeks ago, we entered a competition with Fortnum Mason. So Fortnum Mason is a department store in Piccadilly, next to the Ritz. There was over 200 entries, and we were the final 10 winners selected
Congratulations.
to be stocked at Fortnum Mason. And Fortnum Mason have given us a whole window display exclusive for Curry Smugglers in Piccadilly, which is like unheard of. If you check out our socials, you'll see it on there, and hopefully, guys, that'll open some more doors for us.
Yeah,
just
that sounds like a
keep our
very
fingers
good
crossed.
call, right? Just one short question, but maybe it has a longer answer. But a lot of startups are dreaming of getting listed on a wholesaler, and you got it quite quickly. Is that also your advantage of connections that you had previously, or was there something else that this wholesaler said, no, this is all about the product and we actually did this?
Dude, I have had no connections with snacking industry. My background was beer, so calling up a brewery to stock up product wasn't a problem. But snacking, we didn't know anybody. It's literally after launching the brand and the initial noise that we made on social media, this lovely wholesaler picked up the phone to us and said, "Listen, guys, this is unique. Let's get it. Let's talk." And the rest is there. So I literally say to anyone at the moment who's looking to start up a brand, spend your time on your branding and try to do something that's a little bit different that people will take notice of. Because if they've taken notice of it, everybody else is going to take notice of it. But we are still relatively a very tiny brand, guys. At the moment, we're desperately trying to raise funds for us to grow, take up brand to the next stage. It's great the orders are coming through, and we're very fortunate. We're blessed to be in this situation, but we need to scale up now.
Well, I mean, it's the next part. No? That's the upcoming challenge, no? And
yeah, this is the hard work.
Yeah, and otherwise, I mean, you knew that this moment would come eventually. Otherwise, you would not have started, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So, out the challenges that you guys have said, the challenge is raising finance. So far, totally, we've been bootstrapped. Literally savings, and friends and family, and just getting involved, but you can't keep running the business at the size we are. We need to expand now while everybody's talking about you. So, that's the next thing now, man. This is the hard work, getting the Wonga together,
Yeah. There is another thing that for you has been really important that I think is something that probably a lot of startup or brand entrepreneurs could learn from it, because you seem to have made really well use of social media, in this case Instagram. But it's funny because you're not a social media native person, no? Like right now there is a lot of kids in their 20s, 25s, they've lived all their life with social media, but it's not your case.
No.
So how did you face the challenge of having to get used to it and make the best of it, or did you get help from in that sense?
Dude, I'm not internet savvy. I'm going to be 60 years old next year, man. So for me, it was like, what do I do here? But we see other people's Instagram and they've got they're talking, they're visual, they're active, and all that sort of thing. Yeah, I'm a bit camera shy, so we thought, okay, we got great graphics. Let's play on our graphics, and instead of posting once or twice a week, post something every day. Something different. Let people get fed up of seeing your product. Every single day. But if somebody likes something, they don't get fed up of it. So hopefully, but yeah, it we've learned. Obviously, my children are around me as well, and they've helped quite substantially. We also take we've got a few freelancers who help us out with bits and pieces. But literally, man, I'm the one at the moment who's got the Instagram app on my phone and literally uploading things and doing. Literally, we're doing everything at the moment. It's just like mad mayhem. That's why we need to get this funding in. We grow our team, and take some stress off, because we don't want to get to that mental health stage, man. We don't want to. You don't want to do our heads in.
I am also regarding that. I am curious because mindfulness and mental health is something important in your values as a company. How do you then try to communicate that externally when it comes to?
Well, firstly, we've put the story. Well, it's not a story; it's reality.
Yeah,
on our website, about us page, we've mentioned straight up that this is what's happened with our in our when we were building the brand. So we wanted to put that there. Every opportunity we get on social media, we'd like to take that opportunity to talk to people about that as well. And we want to do more of it. We actually haven't been doing enough. We want to do more of that. And that's where I need to get some more help in to create these social media videos, etc., to make that quite more dominant. We try to work with small businesses, local businesses, even the freelancers that we like to work with. Our first thing is we ask them, you haven't got a lot of workload on, have you, at the moment? If you have, then tell us. We won't ask you to deliver that next week. Give it another week or something. So I think, and that way, people can calmly do their thing. And I think we just got to be mindful that sometimes people may say, "Yeah, I'll do that. I'll deliver you next week. No problem, Steve. I'll create that. You'll have it by 6 p.m." Don't worry, guys. Let's just take your time. Just get it over to me. And if we can do that, in the group that we are ourselves here in the brand, that'll really good. But at the moment, we're literally doing everything. So it's we're taking out one day a week where we're literally not canning, we're not doing anything except for just taking time out. I think it's very important. We may not be able to do that when the brand gets bigger. But at the moment, I think we need to.
It's finding the balance, but sometimes I'm wondering if that balance can actually be found in the early phases of building a company.
It's just keeping that, like now we can take out the time to, for a couple of hours, do some, meditation or something. Yeah. Later on, when we're growing, I'm worried maybe we may not be able to, because it'll be constant. It'll be like constant. But what we're going to have
people in your team, so you have higher fixed costs. More on your head, right? Like right now.
Yeah. That's going to be a huge challenge for phase 2 of the brand. You're very right in what you're saying, but hopefully we can create a really nice, happy space, where the staff, everyone are, comfortable. That's the objective.
I think, you speak to the generation that is under us as well. I see a lot of people under in our age looking for companies that actually value this as well.
I think this last couple of years have really shown, especially with COVID, that we need to look after priority number one now. It's so important. Headspace, mindfulness. I think it's definitely part of the furniture now.
Yeah, I think so as well. And Steve, we come sadly, I think, to an end of this podcast, but we have finishing to closing questions.
Okay.
And one of them is actually not us asking you a question, but you getting the opportunity to ask us a question.
Okay.
So, Steve, what question do you have for us?
Right. So, we're a British brand. How would you see Curry Smugglers cans on your shelf in your country? When you saw the can, what would you think?
That's a very good question.
I love it.
Because as you previously said, the UK is getting a very multinational,
multicultural.
Multicultural country. And here in the Netherlands, it's still not the full country. I think it's the Amsterdam, the biggest cities getting it. But outside that is still, how you say it? Very traditional. Also, like traditional ways of how brands are branded. Well, setting up there. Lots of them are focusing firsthand to the biggest city, Amsterdam, Rotterdam.
Yeah.
And how would you do it there? I think you should start with your own network as well in the brewery scene. If you can step into this well, because there you have also, if you go to special breweries, you have people that want to try as well new things, right? They come there to explore new flavors. And I think that is, regardless of any country, I think those specialty breweries that try also new flavors, that come up with new products every week, but at least once a month. Those are the ones, because they get also the people that want to try snacks, new
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
I tend to say this is something that Southern Europeans tend to say, that the cuisine of the Western Northern countries tends to be a little bit less varied than the one in Spain or in Italy or in Greece, and therefore they're always open to more external cuisines. Like that now in Spain it's also really common to walk through a street and having like all sort of cuisine restaurants. But I really remember once that I went to Scotland and I was like walking around and everything was just some sort of ethnic restaurant, and it was like there is no such a thing as a Scottish bar, like restaurant or something like that. So what I realized is that the people around here tends to be really open to discover new flavors.
This is that.
I think that is like a good thing in that sense. I know that a lot of people in Spain is much. Some of my friends until last year they didn't dare to try sushi, and I think in the Netherlands, for example, that's a stage that is already quite fast. So I think that, as Sako said, you have really good opportunity in places like Amsterdam, Rotterdam, Utrecht. Den Haag, like that part tends to be super multicultural, and with people always looking for having new kind of experiences. Every time in Instagram that I see like a new kind of party or a new kind of special activity or a new kind of festival happens in that area, and it tends to become quite normal. So I think that definitely there is a chance for
I look forward to coming to Amsterdam soon and seeing our cans on the shelf, because I think we can have a lot of fun, totally. Curry Smugglers is an international brand. We speak an international language. This is it. There is no certain language. Multiculturalism is the language, and hopefully we can be part of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that is lovely. And then the last question, Steve, and I'm really curious to hear about this one because since you're a person who appreciates so much the tradition and the cuisine, because we have a question that we make to all of our guests from the beginning, and is what is your favorite food or dish?
You know what? I love chips, fish and chips.
Fish and chips. Wow, bam.
Well, tradition as well. You're
He
British.
smuggled always curry, but actually like this fish and chips way more.
Fish and chips.
He goes to India, he's a fish and chips smuggler.
Yeah, he's a fish and chips smuggler too.
I'm born and bred East London, and I love my fish and chips. And you know what? Sometimes forget putting vinegar on your chips. We put like masala sauce on your chips. Nice curry sauce on your chips. And then you got to have your chips with a nice glass of Orval.
What is Orval?
Orval. It's the Belgian Trappist beer. That's that end game, man.
Lovely. I actually love how you turn fish and chips into a British Asian dish after all. With you just take the fish and the chips, and then you put your spices and everything.
And if I could open up a fish and chip shop tomorrow, I would do the chips with masala salt, and the fish with the batter with the spices.
And you would sell it in a bottle of wine. No?
We'd have to think of something bloody crazy, man. I'll tell you that.
Next step, Steve.
Exactly.
Put a pin to it because in some years you're gonna when the snack can market is completely full, you already know where.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Listen, thank you so much, guys. Big love to you. Thank you so much for having me on here, man.
Yeah, it was great, Steve. I enjoyed it a lot. Normally, we will do this was great. I enjoyed listening to it. Lots of lessons, lots of fun in the meantime as well. So,
indeed,
it's the combination and that sticks around. So I will remember this conversation for sure.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot, Steve.
Peace, man.